El Mencho.
El Mencho.
El Mencho.
For years, he was called the most powerful drug lord in the world. Not El Chapo, not Pablo Escobar, a man few people had even seen, yet whose name carried enormous weight inside Mexico's criminal underworld. His real name was Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, known simply as El Mencho, and at the height of his power, he controlled one of the fastest-growing and most feared criminal organizations on the planet. Authorities say his cartel operated across dozens of territories, moved massive quantities of narcotics internationally, and challenged both rival groups and the Mexican state itself. He built that empire in less than a decade. He survived one of the largest and most coordinated manhunts in Mexico's modern history. And then, after years of operating in the shadows, security forces finally closed in. This is how El Mencho rose, and how the hunt ended. El Mencho wasn't born into power or privilege. He grew up in rural Michoacán, Mexico, in the 1960s. A region marked by agriculture, migration, and later cartel influence. Economic opportunity was limited. Like many young men from the area, he looked north. As a young adult, he crossed into the United States searching for work and stability. But in the 1980s, he was arrested in California on drug-related charges. After serving time, he was deported back to Mexico. That deportation would prove to be a turning point. Back home, Mexico's drug trade was already deeply entrenched. Powerful organizations controlled trafficking routes into the United States. El Mencho joined the Milenio Cartel, a regional criminal group with connections to larger trafficking networks. There, he learned the mechanics of organized crime, how drugs moved across borders, how territory was defended, and how alliances were built and broken. He wasn't known for public speeches or media attention. He kept a low profile, but he was studying the system from the inside. In 2006, everything changed. Mexico's government launched a sweeping military campaign against the country's most powerful cartels. Federal forces were deployed nationwide. High-ranking leaders were captured or killed. But instead of ending the violence, the crackdown fractured existing organizations. Power vacuums emerged. Alliances collapsed. When leaders of the Milenio Cartel were arrested in the late 2000s, the group splintered into competing factions. Many believed it was finished. Instead, El Mencho took control of one of the breakaway groups. He reorganized it, strengthened it, and eventually renamed it the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG. Within just a few years, it would grow faster than almost anyone predicted. CJNG didn't expand quietly. It moved aggressively into strategic territories, particularly regions critical for producing and transporting methamphetamine. Later, as fentanyl demand surged internationally, authorities alleged the cartel expanded into synthetic opioid production and distribution. But what truly set CJNG apart was its structure. Unlike older cartels that relied on loose federations of semi-independent groups, CJNG operated with centralized command and coordinated operations. It was organized, disciplined, strategic. Then came the moment that brought global attention. In 2015, during an operation aimed at capturing El Mencho, cartel gunmen shot down a Mexican military helicopter using heavy weaponry. The incident shocked the country. It demonstrated not only firepower, but confidence. The message was clear. CJNG was no longer a regional faction. It had become a national force. And yet, while his cartel grew more visible, El Mencho himself became harder to find. Unlike El Chapo, whose life became international news through dramatic prison escapes and public trials, El Mencho avoided the spotlight almost entirely. Few verified photos circulated. He gave no interviews. He rarely appeared in cartel propaganda, but law enforcement attention intensified. The U.S. government announced multi-million-dollar rewards for information leading to his capture. Federal indictments accused him of large-scale drug trafficking and weapons offenses. Mexican security forces raided properties believed to be safe houses. They arrested his son, Ruben Oseguera Gonzalez, known as El Menchito. They detained close associates and financial operators. Still, El Mencho stayed free. Years passed, and he remained one of the most wanted men in the world. Eventually, authorities recognized a pattern. Direct capture attempts weren't enough, so they changed tactics. Instead of only pursuing him physically, they began targeting the cartel's infrastructure. Investigators tracked precursor chemicals used in drug manufacturing. They froze bank accounts linked to CJNG operations. They worked with international partners to disrupt supply chains stretching beyond Mexico. High-ranking lieutenants were arrested in coordinated operations. Weapons caches were seized. Financial networks were exposed. And gradually, officials say, the pressure narrowed El Mencho's options. After years of surveillance and intelligence gathering, authorities reported receiving credible information about his location in a remote, mountainous region long associated with cartel activity. This time, officials say, the operation was handled with extreme caution. No public leaks, careful coordination, air and ground units moving simultaneously. Elite forces advanced with aerial surveillance overhead. When contact was made, a firefight broke out between security forces and armed guards. When it ended, officials announced that the target, El Mencho, had been killed. Before confirming publicly, authorities conducted forensic identification, including biometric verification and DNA testing. If confirmed, it marked the end of one of Mexico's longest and most complex manhunts. Following the announcement, security forces increased patrols across western Mexico, anticipating possible retaliation or instability. Analysts immediately began asking the next question. Does this end CJNG? Probably not. Unlike some criminal groups built entirely around a single personality, CJNG developed a layered leadership structure with regional commanders and operational cells. That structure may allow it to continue functioning even without its founder. But leadership transitions can create uncertainty, power struggles, fragmentation, or the rise of a successor determined to prove strength. History has shown that removing one leader does not automatically dismantle an organization. El Mencho's story reflects a broader shift in organized crime. After the fall of figures like El Chapo, newer leaders adapted. They avoided publicity, built tighter command systems, diversified revenue streams. CJNG rose during a time when older cartels were weakened by arrests and internal divisions. It filled that vacuum quickly. And even with El Mencho gone, the larger systems that allowed that rise, global demand, trafficking corridors, financial networks, remain in place. For years, El Mencho operated in the shadows while his organization expanded across borders and into global markets. His rise reshaped Mexico's criminal landscape. His reported death closes a significant chapter in that story. But in the world of organized crime, leadership changes rarely end the conflict itself. They mark a transition, and often the beginning of something new.